With us now, Admiral Brett Giroir, former Assistant Secretary for Health at the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Good to see you, sir. Please assuage my fears. Do I need to stockpile Skittles, Swedish Fish, Sour Patch Kids now, or can I wait a year?
Well, thanks for having me on. And first of all, I want to say I seriously question the president and RFK's judgment showing up with McDonald's on Trump Force 1. Being from Texas, I always have my Whataburger here with me and my Whataburger drink, and I would highly advise Diet Coke with a number 11, easy on the sauce. But seriously, it's not what you eat at any time. It's what you eat all the time. And I am hoping RFK Jr., along with the president, it goes with the dietary guidelines that we wrote in 2020 to 2025. We don't have to ban things. We just have to move towards a more healthier diet. Instead of 60% ultra-processed foods, maybe we can do 30 or 20% ultra-processed foods, decrease the fat content somewhat. That's the road to being healthy. And everybody should feel free to enjoy their Quarter Pounder with cheese, their McNuggets, their Whataburger number 11 with a Diet Coke, which I always have. And having been in the Oval Office many, many times, I can assure you that the president was never without a Diet Coke, nor did he fail to offer everyone there a Diet Coke. And I certainly partake.
There you go. I'm more of a Chick-fil-A guy, but we can debate fast food later. What I think is the question is really, what can RFK do as the HHS secretary? This was interesting. The New York Times had to make a correction. Kennedy's vow to take on big food could alienate his GOP allies. Mr. Kennedy has singled out Fruit Loops as an example, one of my favorite cereals, a food group when I was a child, that has too many ingredients. In an interview with MSNBC on November 6th, he questioned the overall ingredient count. Why do Fruit Loops in this country have 18 or 19, and you can go to Canada and it has 2 or 3? A correction was made on November 17th because an editing error of an early version incorrectly described Mr. Kennedy's recent comment on Fruit Loops. He was comparing the total number of ingredients in U.S. and Canadian versions of the cereal, not the number of artificial ingredients. It turns out that in Canada, they're flavored with blueberries and carrots, and in the United States, it's things you can't pronounce. You worked at HHS. You were the assistant secretary. Is this something on day one he can order no more red dye or whatever the evil thing is in Skittles in any U.S. foods?
Well, I'm not a regulatory lawyer. I don't think he can order that, but certainly the government will respond to what he's saying. We need to improve the quality of our foods, particularly those we feed to children. And we need to take a more holistic approach. Look, it's one thing for the FDA to say this is generally regarded as safe because it doesn't cause cancer in a mouse in 3 weeks. But what they're not looking at is, what does this do to a child over 20 or 30 years, which is why 80% of American adults are overweight or obese. So we need to take that more holistic look. And healthy foods can be really tasty. And again, it's not about banning everything, right? It's not about making every, kid eat kale and mushrooms at their school lunch, but it's about moving toward a healthier diet, which can be nutritious and taste really good. And preserve the time for your McDonald's or Whataburger. And I'm a good Chick-fil-A guy myself. We all enjoy that. It just can't be 100% of the time, 7 days a week.
So tomorrow we have on a woman who has children who have autism to talk about the real focus RFK Jr. is bringing to the issue of autism and the explosion of autism around America. But you combine the explosion of autism, the fact that young girls are getting their periods and going through puberty earlier than ever before, dramatically earlier. Young men don't have anywhere near the testosterone levels that young men of the 1960s and 70s had. I'll give you the last 30 seconds. Why has there never been an interest in studying any of these things before? Why is bringing that up a conspiracy theory to so many?
Well, there's been interest in it, but there hasn't been the leadership for it. And that's what I think RFK is really bringing the ideas forward in a way that almost no one else can. And the president has always been concerned. And remember, we started the youth sports strategy under him to get kids off the couch into playing youth sports. And it is very important. Autism, there was just a paper, has gone up in some groups 450% in only 10 years. Now, my assessment of the literature is it's not vaccines that do that. And I think we have that clearly, but something is causing it. Put a foot in the butt of the NIH and the CDC, make them do a study that really looks at what are the causes and how do we stop it? What are the causes of premature menses, premature loss of testosterone? This is what we can get done. And with the president's Trump time combined with RFK's passion, I think we're going to be in a really good place.
Important issues. Thank you, Doctor. We'll have you back to talk about it, sir. Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.